Hello, welcome back to So You Think You Want to Coach. My name is Durante Polite, collegiate basketball coach. So excited to be back with you. Hope you've enjoyed our episodes that we've done thus far. I hope you really enjoyed our drill of the week. I might put a drill of the week in this one too. We'll see. You got to stick around to find out. But yeah, great to be back with you. I'm excited about this topic that I want to talk to you about. It might seem a little elementary, a little simple, but I think it's necessary for you to know if you're thinking that you want to do this, no matter at what level that you're thinking about doing it. So remember, as always, subscribe, like, share with your family, your friends, anyone out there that you think this will be good content for, especially young coaches. And let's get into it. So you think you want to coach? Well, if that's something that you want to do, what you gotta know is that it's time consuming. It is very, 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 very time consuming. It can engulf your life if you are not careful. And it's kind of just the nature of the beast. I mean, it just really is. Now, again, at the lower levels, my young kids, they're starting to play. They're looking for volunteers, of course. Not as time consuming, but still time consuming, right? You're probably giving up a portion of your Saturday, and who knows what you do in the off season on your Saturdays, whether you like to sleep in or you rest. A lot of times games start early in the morning, and it's just going to take some time. So you got to adjust during that season or whatever. As that ramps up, maybe it gets a little bit more competitive. Now you're talking about having practice throughout the course of the week in some capacity. And you playing on the weekends, maybe it's just one game. You get the travel season time. You got multiple games throughout a day. A lot of times they spaced out, and then multiple days throughout the weekend. So now your entire weekend can get eaten up. And again, a lot of times when you're doing this thing early on, you're doing something else. You're working 40, 50 hours a week doing something else, and now you got to make time for this too. So it's just something to know. Again, it's not to deter, but it's something that you got to know is very, very time consuming, and that's at the lower levels. A lot of times it's at like the volunteer level. Now we get to, high school coach, middle school coach, and there's probably some stipends involved. But now you're talking about practices all throughout the week on a consistent basis. And then you have games multiple times throughout the week. So there's dinners that you're missing with family. Maybe some weekend, get-togethers, some weekend outings that you're missing. It's very, very time-consuming. I mean, you really have to know that. You have to understand that going in, because again, it can lead to burnout. It can lead to you just not doing a very good job because you're not organized with your time and with your energy, right? It takes a lot of energy to do this thing as well, and so if you're not organized with your time, you're not getting enough rest, you're not eating correctly, those type of things, it's going to affect your performance with this thing. And if you are working on top of this, like your work, you still got to be able to bring in income, right? And so you got to still be ready to go for that with that. But then this thing that you're doing, you got your name attached to it. You want to do a great job. You got to understand the time commitment so that you can plan and prepare in order to make it all work. And then as we talk about like getting up into, college ranks and things like that, I mean, that's another level because now you're getting paid for it. In a lot of situations, some situations, the same amount of work may be required, but you're getting part-time pay, no benefits, things like that. But the time consumption is real. I remember my 1 year I coached AAU squad, 6th grade boys, and we played kind of local tournaments, and I think our agreement, we had one practice a week, and then we competed 2 weekends out of the month. But they were local. I think the most we might have traveled is maybe 2 hours away or something like that to play in tournaments. But again, that's time, out of the week. And then a lot of those tournaments, they was for the entire weekend. So that whole weekend, those 2 weekends were gone. It's 2 weekends I can't do anything with at the time, just my wife, didn't have any kids. And again, and at least one night out of the week. The next year, we wanted to ramp it up, I believe, and we wanted to do 2 nights out of the week and then like 3 to 4 tournaments a month. So now you're talking about another night out of the week and then the possibility of being gone all month on tournaments, or at least three weekends out of a month on tournaments. So again, that's time consuming. That's taken away from other hobbies that you might enjoy. Again, a big thing is taken away from family time. As much as you can get that involved, that'll be a great thing. That's something we'll talk about a little bit later. But you just got to know that going in. Like, you don't get all like into like you being this great coach or the thrill of it, you know. And I've just talked about practicing games. I ain't talking about planning practice. We ain't talking about like game planning. We ain't talking about player evaluations or game evaluations afterwards, whether it's film study breakdown or not. And then, you know, community service. If you're a high school or your middle school coach or a college level, like, you're going to probably be having some type of community service initiative. Super dope to the youth programs out there, club programs that put on a good community service initiative. But yeah, like, we haven't even talked about those things. We haven't talked about dealing with discipline, especially middle school, high school, academically, making sure they're okay, you know, and checking in on them from that standpoint. You know, some coaches, you know, they might be shuffling their players back and forth, making sure their players can get back and forth to practice. Like, we haven't even, you know, touched that stuff. We're just talking about the practice, like the actual like nuts and bolts of practice and playing, like that part, which is normally what just comes to mind. You don't think about all the other things that are involved, but even just that by itself is time consuming. And then when you add on the other pieces, it's that much more time consuming. So in order to go in this thing and to perform well, you just have to know that ahead of time. Because a lot of times, you know, coaches don't, you know, you want to get into this thing, you don't think about all the work that goes into the practice, and all the work that goes into getting the young people to show up, to get them there. Like, there's a lot of work, and where there's work, there's time, and time, your time is valuable. And so I think it's important to really just kind of really want to do this thing, and to dive in it, and to be engrossed in it. But you got to understand that, because it'll better help you guard against burnout, and it'll help you just be prepared and help your team to really like lead them to do some really good things when you understand that, and you can be organized and prepared and those type of things. So that's just something to know, man. Like, you know, you might think it's a glorious profession, and I love it, but it's very time consuming. And so there might be hobbies that you're into that maybe for a season, or if it's something that you do professionally, you might have to really put on the back burner. You know, and you got to figure out how to make this whole thing work. If you're a family person, how to make this whole thing work with that too. So just know this coaching thing, it is great, it is lovely, but it is time consuming, and you're going to have to find a way to make time for it. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. Hey, I Embrace, that's my sister's brand. She's super dope, very positive, very encouraging. So make sure you go check her out, link below. But remember, if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the little button so that you'll know when new episodes come on, the little bell down there. And I'm looking forward to talking with you again sometime soon. All right, have a good one. And I'm back. I said I might do a drill of the week. I'm going to do a drill of the week. We call it game day passing. It's a phenomenal drill, but it goes like almost in like a circle, so that everyone's getting a touch of a different type of pass, and you can keep things kind of flowing, and really emphasizing different passes, but making all of those passes with both hands. So once you do it to one side, you flip it, do it to the other side of the court. And so we really emphasize making the pass with the correct hand, and having control and things of that nature. So hope you like the drill. I think it's a really, really cool drill. Again, you can do it with all levels. Have a good one. Hope you enjoy. So the drill we're working on today is game day passing. That's the drill of the week. And I'm going to let it run through here, but you'll see really focusing on making the pass, all different types of passes with the correct hand. You follow your pass. That's how the rotation of the drill goes. And we get a second ball involved. It's a great drill. All right, so let's go back from the beginning. So we start over here in the beginning. We start with a backdoor pass, making that pass with the left hand. All right, we flow right into a drift pass. Again, left-handed drift pass. Want that pass to go towards their head so they can drop it to the pocket. That turns into a one more pass, which then turns into a dribble handoff. And then from there, we get a post entry pass, outside hand. From the post entry pass, they reverse pivot, and then they're making the pass to that next person in line to start the drill. We like to start that second ball. Watch this left-handed pass right here. I mean, this is perfect. Left-handed drift pass right to her face. We teach that so you can drop down into the pocket. So shooters can drop down into the pocket as opposed to passing it right to their pocket and having to come up. That second ball starts on the dribble handoff. So when the dribble handoff is taking place on the other side of the court, then we normally start that second ball going. All right, and this is just a great drill. Again, working on so many different passes: the backdoor pass, the drift pass, the one more pass, executing dribble handoffs into the post, and then reverse pivot and making that that overhead pass to the opposite side of the court. Again, just a great drill. It's actually working on game passes, and young coaches, this is something that you really can implement with your teams. I just think it's great if you can. One of the things I get most excited about when I go to recruit is seeing players that can pass with their offhand, right? And so it's one thing to be able to drill with your offhand, make a layup with your offhand, but when people are making passes with their offhand, I've seen some players making full court advanced passes with their offhand. I think is great. So this drill is really good. You don't want to be passing across your body, passing into the defense, and so you really just need to be able to pass with both hands. And this drill just gives you an opportunity to work on that, work on making that, especially that drift pass. I mean, we've had so many great plays to result in our guards or just players being able to make left-handed drift passes. And so this is a great drill. We'll run it for a while. Coach will yell score, see the clock is running down, and then we'll flip it and go to the other side of the court. So it's a really good drill. A couple things that we emphasize is making that backdoor pass, making that telling them to set their cut up above the block, so they can actually go up into a layup. They don't have to run directly into. They don't have to run directly into that drift pass. They can just come to a jump stop, take one dribble, and then jump out of bounds to make that drift pass. Of course, we talk a lot about communication, and just really making sure we're communicating the one more, we're communicating the drift. If you're in the corner, you're calling drift, things like that. And then again, just making the pass with the correct hand. So great drill, game day passing. Definitely something that you should institute within your program.